Hello everybody, I am Hoarder Gamer, and today we're going to talk about comic books, games, and toys. Not really in that order. First off, we do have a little bit of housekeeping. I was going to review Ultimate Spider-Man number 7, and at least 2 local comic shops in the southeastern Wisconsin area had damaged books. So they had maybe anywhere between 3 and 6 copies, and that was it. Instead of, 25 or 30 among different covers and everything. So was not able to procure a copy of that. So the review today is actually going to be X-Force number 1. So that's the review we'll get to a little bit later. First up, though, we've got some video game news. So let's begin with... It's a little bit of a throwback, but then there's also some new things we're focusing on right now. So, the First Descendant. Okay, so the early August update happens. Well, it was going to happen tomorrow, August 1st. But they got it all done and taken care of, and they were like, you know what, it's going to come out a day early. So it came out today. So there's a new Descendant by the name of Luna, and she's really cool. She's like really big into music, and it's like music / rhythm gameplay with her. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Now, one thing to keep in mind with her, though, is you have to unlock her. You can purchase her if you wanted to have, like... her right away if you didn't want to actually earn her in game. Otherwise, you can earn her. There's 4 components, including her blueprint, and then you're able to create Luna. So that's probably the biggest draw with this update, I would say, besides gluttony. Okay, there's a new Colossus, Void Colossus. And in case you don't know what that is, it's like a kaiju type of battle. So a big, gigantic Godzilla type of monster thing. And a brand new one is showing up now called the Colossus. So one thing to keep in mind, though, is you won't be able to just go and fight the Colossus unless you're very deep into endgame. The Colossus is at level 140. Your characters stop basically leveling at level 40. So at that point, the more missions you're doing, the more areas you're going into, you're getting high-level weapons. Case in point, I have, I believe it's 4 characters at level 40, at least 3 for sure. And I just got guns that were at level 72. So your gear will actually out-level your, character leveling. So, hello, Hero Mentor! Blah, blah, blah. Just talking about the update to First Descendant. And then there's new skins, of course. And then people have been, waiting with bated breath for this. I've seen so many people online that are really ready just to take $100 and throw it at their monitor for Ultimate Velby. Ultimate Velby. So... ultimate characters are very challenging to unlock. They take a long time. But if you don't want to deal with all that, you can just buy them. And it's roughly $100. So it is a free-to-play game. So they definitely have monetization like that and everything. But I was just surprised how many people are ready and not just willing, almost begging to pay $100 for Ultimate Velby. I expect to see a number of Ultimate Velbys today. When I play later on tonight, so I'll talk about that if I do see a number of them. So, and then there's new cosmetics and new skins. One thing that I thought was weird, though, is there's this really cool Ultimate Velby skin, I believe it is, and it looks amazing, but it's only for Ultimate Velby. So, I don't understand if it's a different skin model why regular Velby couldn't wear it, or they could have a version for her, but oh well. It's a really cool looking red and black coloring. It looks very intense. And Velby looks like a very very naive, very kind, patient person. If you're looking at the character model and facial depiction and everything of Velby. So this is like the badass, Velby from hell version is what it looks like. And it looked cool. But apparently it's only available if you buy the ultimate version. Won't surprise me, college football from EA Sports made $700 million their first day, all from gamers paying $100 for 3-day early. Now see though, I can't, if you're talking about a game in early access, I can't come down that hard on that because Assassin's Creed, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, Gotham Knights, I think, had early access. If not, they had like a deluxe version at least. So I can't really, be like that crazy about it. The thing is, though, keep in mind, too, it's a free-to-play game. So right now, they're at least listening to players, making a lot of changes to make the grind less painful for sure. And it's very similar in grind to something like Warframe. So that's just a number of things to keep in mind. I've been enjoying the game a lot, and I took a moment playing it today, just like one mission in a place called Hagios. It's towards the end of the main campaign. And it's the moment-to-moment combat. It's how the guns feel when you fire them. It's the enemy designs. It's a lot of cool stuff. Now, I will say, though, more enemies should basically stop having these insane, like, bubbles around them that protect them, because that is angering as hell. I don't know what they were thinking with that, but, like, some enemies will, like, team up in a bubble, a big, like, rectangular bubble thing. It's kind of weird looking, and it protects them, and it's a nightmare to get in there and kill them before you get killed. It's single player specifically. COD does the same thing. Not being negative. I spent lots of money on early release. Oh, I didn't think you were being negative, Hero. A lot of Ubisoft games do early access. Yes, I'll be talking about one of them a little bit later, actually, in this gaming information update type thing. But yeah, I mean, that's the big thing for me is to unlock Luna. I think she seems like a really cool character. I think it'll be fun to play as her. And I don't know, man. I don't know how long it'll take me to get to level 140 in the Colossus. But one thing to keep in mind is, at the end of August, we start seeing the actual true, like, first season, and we start getting more story content. We get another brand new Descendant, I believe another new Ultimate Descendant, and then also we get a story arc for a Descendant. So Bunny had a story arc at the launch of the game, and I'm not done with it. I did the first mission, and I thought it was really cool. And so I think that's awesome that, like, they're actually going to give separate story arcs to each Descendant, apparently, over time. Let's see here. No, I'm not trying to fight with anybody. Hey, Crinky, how you doing? No fighting here. No fighting here. So a larger, more sumptuous update will be coming out at the end of August. Like, right now, if you're tracking the pre-season battle pass or season pass, whatever you want to call it, if you're tracking that, it looks like it's going to be in like the mid-20s of August, like maybe August 23rd, August 24th, something like that, something around that time period. I guess I could say it's a thick update, but I won't. I could, but I won't. Okay, so now that we are done talking about the First Descendant, we are going to talk about Diablo. And would you look at that? Diablo 4 Season 5 launches August 6th. So next week, everybody, you're going to be able to face off against the Infernal hordes. Not the same spelling as my name. Hordes. Okay? And you're going to fight a whole mess of demons. and it's going to be like this crazy wave-based thing where it's 60-second waves, and then once you complete a wave, you choose an infernal offer. And it's a boon and a bane, so it's good and bad at the same time, and you decide which one you want of three. And then you move on to the next wave. Once you complete all the waves, you face off against the Fell Council. Again, this has nothing to do with the wonderful actor Norman Fell from Three's Company. He played Mr. Roper. This is not that type of Fell. The Fell Council was in Diablo 2, and they were Zakarum priests that were basically manipulated unknowingly by Diablo and the other primevals. I believe mostly Mephisto, actually. So, interesting, right? That something involving Mephisto would be in Season 5, right before the launch of Season 6, which is also the launch, October 8th, by the way, of the Vessel of Hatred, the first huge expansion for Diablo 4. So, now if you're wondering how many levels the Infernal Hordes take, there's these compasses, an Infernal Compass. And basically, they're different levels of compass, and that's how many like waves and how difficult it's going to be to do the Infernal Hordes. There's also a seasonal story arc. So there, it's just going to be like the previous Diablo 4 seasons. It should be pretty awesome. And tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central, they're going to have a campfire chat and go into insane detail on changes to uniques, some of them being called now mythic. And apparently a lot of legendaries and uniques have been changed greatly. So they're talking about like insane changes. So we'll be finding that out tomorrow. And then next week, August 6th, we can try Diablo 4 Season 5, Infernal Hordes. The Infernal Hordes. Let's see. Did they add fun and excitement? That was in at launch. Those two elements were in at launch, and with Season 4, just like, you have like the 2 scoops of raisins and like Kellogg's Raisin Bran, they brought in 2 scoops of fun and excitement to add even more fun and excitement. And dare I say, they also had like a little half a scoop size for joy, pure joy, and they put that in too. Okay, everybody, so that is the end of our Diablo 4 talk. Next up, we have Star Wars Outlaws. Okay, and we're going to start this with Name Drop. A number of streamers and social media folk, some of which are friends of mine, like J. Kun Prime and J. Shockblast, got to play Star Wars Outlaws remotely. And they played about 4 hours of it. And I think it looks awesome. Truth be told, I was sold on the game when I saw the Jawa mission. There's a mission they showed officially like about a month ago. And, no, less than a month ago. It was earlier this month, I think, on IGN. And basically you're working with the Jawas because they want a Sarlacc tooth. An incredibly dangerous thing to find, and you have to go into like a dead or dying Sarlacc pit in order to find a Sarlacc tooth, and there's some surprises inside that pit. You have to use your bike and get to a certain area and stuff like that. They showed like 10 minutes of the mission, but there were some edits, and I thought it looked really awesome. So here they showed more detail into the relationships between the different syndicates. Like you have the Crimson Dawn, you have the Pike Syndicate, and how one, will play off of the other. So you kind of decide who you want to work with, and each level that you go up allows you more access to that syndicate. Like you can get into deeper areas of their bases and stuff like that. Easier to steal from them. If you don't want to steal, easier for them to trust you and things like that. So it looks really cool. Space combat looks neat. One thing they showed off, which I really liked, is they have Imperial bases. Like these insane, not Death Star like, that's insanely huge, but more like larger than a Star Destroyer type of base for Imperial soldiers and, you know, the Empire. And you can explore them, and there's tons of stealth, and I love stealth. So I'm a huge stealth fan, and I'm very much looking forward to Star Wars Outlaws. I think it's going to be really good. Let's see, Crinky. I'm so excited for Star Wars Outlaws. I won't be grabbing it at launch, but it'll be watching others. Yeah, I'm actually chomping at the bit. That's like one of the main games I'm looking forward to this year. So yes, I will be picking it up at launch. Like I mentioned earlier, I can't really make fun of people that you know, are buying, you know, spending $100 or whatever for Ultimate Velby, because, you know, it's a Ubisoft game, Star Wars Outlaws, and if I can play 3 days early, plus get a season pass with, you know, story content, plus apparently another story mission involving Jabba and his palace. So yeah, I'm probably gonna do that. So, you know, that's just how AAA gaming, what it's become, you know. Hope you can work for Jabba. I don't know exactly. Star Wars is a little weird that way. Like, I think the only reason there was kind of a discount for the, again, also made by Ubisoft, for the Avatar game that came out last year is because it was so close to Christmas. You know? Once games hit $70, that nice, cheap price after a month or two is kind of evaporated. It's something I've noticed. So just something to keep in mind. But yeah, I think it looks really awesome. Nyx is adorable. So Nyx is this amazing, like, dog type of pet thing and companion friend to Kay Vess, the main character that you play in the game. And Nyx can actually go and, like, take a gun from an enemy and bring it back to you. And what they did with this game is, Kay always has, like, her blaster, and you can level that up, but the guns that are left around, like the Imperial guns, things like that, that other, like, not bounty hunters, other scoundrels and stuff have that you get a hold of, are crazily powerful. So sometimes you'll send Nyx out to go and grab something for you, and the mechanic to do that looked really good. So basically it was like, you take a look at an enemy, you hit a certain button, and you see a kind of like an outline of Nyx, move to that enemy, and do whatever it's going to do, just so you can see that no one can spot that happening. I thought that was really cool. It's kind of like, oh, do you want to make that decision? Here's kind of a preview of how that decision will go for you. Nyx can also adorably, like, start, like, do like a feint. Like, basically walk in front of an enemy, and the enemy is like, what are you doing here? What are you? Type of thing. And then it just, like, plays dead. And as it does that, you can get away. You could go around. Nyx can also activate grenades that certain, like, enemies have on their person and blow them up. It's going to be a lot of fun to play with Nyx. And be a mass murderer as Kay Vess. Okay. Let's see here. But yeah, everybody, I would say that's pretty much all the real big gaming news, except for the BS. The BS I'm talking about right now is Bungie and firing a lot of employees, and still looking into all the details. Apparently some of them went to Sony, and it would have been even worse of a situation if that didn't happen. But now here's where things get really confusing. Herman Hulst might now be the person in control of Bungie. So there was this whole thing, I want to say about a year and a half ago, where Bungie was having difficulties. And Sony ended up like kind of sort of buying them or whatever, or giving them a huge cash infusion. Well, the whole thing was contingent on the success of seasons, I believe, as well as the final shape expansion that came out. The final shape was incredibly successful, sold insanely well. Well, unfortunately, still, Bungie employees are gone. And it seems that Herman Holst possibly has control of Bungie now. So Sony, like, I guess owns Bungie, and Herman Holst is in charge. Information's still coming out. It's kind of, like, sketchy. But, like, it's really upsetting that all those employees were let go. And it sounds like this person that's at Bungie, Pete Parsons, apparently, you know, he seemed to do well after all this happened. Isn't Bungie to blame? They wanted to independent and make a deal with the devil, Activision. They didn't like being rushed to bought out their contract and went and made a bad buyout deal with Sony. I don't know. And then, but see, here's the thing, though. You can't blame the employees that lost their jobs today. Wouldn't that be all on Pete Parsons? That decision? It's very rare that you have, like, regular employees make that type of a decision for a company. So I'm thinking that it was Pete Parsons and people that are high up in Bungie that did that. So yeah, that's all the gaming news. I just wanted to bring that up because the problem is sometimes people like to avoid knowing how the sausage is made, we'll say. You know, and I don't think that's good for the gaming industry. I don't think that's good for, you know, just being a human being. And you've got to look at the positives and the negatives of everything. So I just wanted to do that. So, but now we are done talking about video games. We're going to toy around. And boy, are we going to toy around. San Diego Comic-Con was last week, okay? And there were a number of insane announcements. So we're going to show more toys, I think, today than any other single episode of Hoarder's Comic Flex. Don't worry, it's not going to be like 100 or anything. It's just maybe like, I think, 6. I think the most I've done is 5. So I think we got like one more than I've ever done. Usually it's around 4, but... Okay, let's see. What do I want to start with? Let's go with... There's something weird in your neighborhood. Mondo is doing Ghostbusters. The real Ghostbusters. And here you have Peter Venkman with Slimer and Sam Hain. Ostensibly, the most popular villain from the real Ghostbusters, and one of the most popular Ghostbusters, Peter Venkman. Now, I believe it was Lorenzo Music that did the voice initially at one point for Peter, and then was it Dave Coulier at one point? I'm trying to remember. By the way, Lorenzo Music used to be the voice actor for Garfield. Let's see here. Do you feel bad for people who lost their jobs, especially the lady who was going to go on maternity leave next Monday? Yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible. So when that kind of thing happens, you hope that, like, the Mark Cubans of the world hear that, and they're like, I gotcha. You know, that's what you hope for. That's what you hope for. Let's see here. Old school and awesome. I know the detail's amazing. Just the amount of accessories and everything that they're going to come with, because it's Mondo. Here's the thing, though, everybody. With Mondo quality comes a Mondo price. So, these are in, believe it or not, the 1/12 inch scale. Not the 1/6. So these aren't 12-inch figures. These are closer to like 6 or 7-inch figures, roughly. And it will be $200 for the set. The set, there's two of them. I'll show the second one in a moment. Peter Venkman, his backpack, Neutrona wand, everything, his accessories, Slimer, and Sam Hain. And Sam Hain might come with accessories as well. But yeah, 200 for the pack, or 100 a piece. Here's the thing to keep in mind, though. So if you do them a piece, you will not get a number of the accessories with them. So they're really trying to get you to buy the sets, not the single figures. But the single figures will be available at 100 a piece. Okay, now I believe this goes on sale, like pre-orders or whatever, I want to say probably about fall, because the first quarter of 2025 is this set. The Boogeyman and Egon Spengler. Now, I believe that Blue Ghost comes with Egon, the one we saw in the earlier picture. I'm not sure exactly. Not all the details were readily available. But yeah, I think these look incredible. The detail's awesome. So the price is definitely something a lot of people will balk at, and I totally get that. I think I'll probably end up balking as well. The thing is that they were charging $250 for 12-inch He-Man figures. So if you look at that and say, oh, what will they charge for a 6-inch figure with a ton of accessories? That pricing makes sense. Even if we don't like it, that's kind of what they set up as their pricing. So, and apparently a lot of people love those Batman animated figures. Those are also in the 200, 225, 250 range or whatever. And the He-Man figures. I love all four of the Ghostbusters. I'm very tempted though on Peter and Sam Hain, because Sam Hain was my favorite villain too. So Bill Murray, one of my favorite, actors and, members of the Ghostbusters, and then Sam Hain. So it's like, yeah. Okay, we are not done, everybody. There's a lot more to enjoy from San Diego Comic-Con. The Rattler. Hasbro Pulse, HasLab, the Cobra Rattler, and in less than a day it was funded. Comes with Wild Weasel and just a shit ton of accessories. Look at all those accessories. Absolutely insane. I believe the wingspan is like at almost 32 inches. So, because the vehicle's big, right? The figure is 6 inches, right? So the vehicle has to be huge to accommodate a 6-inch action figure. So this is not the 3 3/4. This works with G.I. Joe Classified. So all those accessories, and it is $324.99. I believe you have till September 9th to order it, and then they have a number of numbers that they're trying to reach. I think right now, they're at 11,000. Once they hit 14,000, I think it comes with another 6-inch figure. And then I think there's another possibility of yet another 6-inch figure. A version of Baroness. A unique version of the Baroness figure. So, yeah. I think it looks gorgeous. It's huge. The amount of plastic that this involves. It's got lights. It's got sounds. It's nutty. Just like the Cobra Hiss that came out last year. So, yeah. I was really surprised, though, that it got funded that quickly. Like, when I saw it in all the detail, I thought this will probably get funded. I did not think within 24 hours it would get funded. That was not something I expected. But within like the first hour or 2 hours, it was already at 5,000 orders. So, the Cobra Rattler. Again, Hasbro Pulse, the current HasLab. Next up, we have new McFarlane Marvel statues. So they're basically called posed figures. Okay? And this is in the 1/10th scale. Take a look at that Venom. Take a look at that Magneto. All of these look great. The Miles Morales, that looks fantastic. I think these look awesome. And it's also the beginning of McFarlane Toys making Marvel figure type things, or Marvel figures, if you want to call them that, even though they're posed figures. Now, the first lineup, I believe, is showing up at Walmart, and I showed some pictures of those. It's 2 Spider-Man statues, and then it's a Captain America, it's a Wolverine. Now, I believe these will be $29.99 a piece. This is like the 1/10th scale, so... Yeah, he doesn't like to do things in a specific scale. He likes to go a little bit out there. Because, like, it was 7-inch figures instead of 6-inch figures for, like, the DC McFarlane Toys. DC Universe stuff. But yeah, I think these look really good. I absolutely love the Venom and Magneto. I'm really close on the Miles Morales as well. And then look at that Green Goblin. But here's the problem, everybody. That's an exclusive. It's a chase. That's an actual chase. And I don't know, I'm guessing it's a chase of Spider-Man, because otherwise I don't know what would make sense. But yeah, that's the only way to get the Green Goblin. So probably if it's a box of 6, there's probably 1 Green Goblin in each box, or maybe 1 in every 12 figures. I honestly don't know. But yeah, I think these look great, and I definitely wanted to show them. Now, this one to me is mind-blowing, and I can't believe it's even happening. The Franklin Murray Show Joker box set. Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. Robert De Niro as Murray Franklin. The backdrop, the plant, the chair, the desk. Apparently this comes out in fall. I believe it's also going to have you can also get a regular just Joker of Joaquin Phoenix with numerous heads as well. Now, he might come with the gun. We don't know, because apparently something changed with DC and McFarlane Toys where some of the characters are coming with guns. Jonah Hex is one of the absolute first. He comes with 2 revolvers. I really like that a lot. I really like this box set. I am hoping it's not a nightmare to get. Because, man, a Joaquin Phoenix Joker figure, a Robert De Niro figure, and that backdrop, that 1970s era talk show backdrop. Like the Merv Griffin show type of thing is what I'm pretty sure what they're going for. They're also going for the set from, I think, The King of Comedy, which is another movie with Robert De Niro, where he plays like a struggling / failed comedian. So that was actually one of the, ideas behind the Joker movie. And now we're getting a sequel to Joker in October, Joker Folie à Deux. And no, I unfortunately don't speak French, so I probably butchered that. But yeah, I'm still amazed by this. I'm gonna guess $60, $25 a figure, and then the backdrop, $10, $15. I don't know exactly. I think it looks great though. I'm really surprised by it. If you look at it in detail, it doesn't look like it's just cardboard. It looks like it's actually like plastic and everything. So, okay. And finally, our little toy shopping spree. The Green Goblin. It's pretty much saying, back to formula. Oh! So you can create all your favorite scenes from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I really love how they did the eyes. Like, they could have totally screwed up the eyes because they have that gold part for the eye and then the green part of the helmet. As collectibles go, I don't think this is badly priced. $99.99. Should fit on just about most heads. They are also doing a pumpkin bomb, which has lights and I think it has sounds as well. But I haven't seen a price for the pumpkin bomb. Both of these go on sale tomorrow. Pre-orders open for these live tomorrow. So. But yeah, everybody. Whew, we are done toying around for the week and for San Diego Comic-Con. Next up, we are going to look at the future of comic books. The future of comics all the way to 1 week from today. Okay, everybody. And first up, I will warn you, we have one or two heavy hitters. Do we want the heavy hitters first, or do we want the other good books, but not quite massive heavy hitters? What would we like first, do we think? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Let's see here. I'm going to start with a really good book that isn't a heavy hitter. Space Ghost number 4. Space Ghost is an excellent comic book series. I'm not the biggest fan except for Space Ghost Coast to Coast, but with what Dave Papos has done with this book is awesome. And here's another amazing cover by Behrens. Great book so far. He's basically found these two kids. He's trying to help them and keep them alive as all these opposing forces, including, I believe, Zorak at this point, are trying to, get these kids. And their knowledge as well as their little pet monkey, which could be insane experiment that everyone wants to have control of. Space Ghost number 4. Next up, we have Absolute Power number 2. Amanda Waller has won. She has found a way to take powers from metahumans and imprison them. And it looks like she can't be stopped. A number of heroes have made it to the Fortress of Solitude. And now we're going to see, what the next step is here. So, Absolute Power number 2. This is a variant cover. This is Failsafe. This is the cyborg of Batman that he created in case he ever killed somebody. And that's what this is, Failsafe. Okay. Next up, we have our first heavy hitter. Venom War number 1. A number of little miniseries and the Venom comic book has led to Venom War number 1. Now, recently, the Venom comic has gotten kind of complicated. The easiest thing to understand is there's this garden in space and time, and Eddie Brock is somehow all these different versions of Venom throughout different timelines. Well, Eddie's son, Dylan, is now ready to face off against his father and his alternates for who is the true King in Black. So this is a massive war between father and son. Actually, I believe it's fathers and son because of the variants. I don't think we've seen any Dylan variants except one that was in the Donny Cates run. And I don't know if they redid the future. I forget how that all went. Oh, I love that cover. I love that cover, and it's one of my favorite writers, L. Ewing. So I think it'll be really good. I'm definitely going to pick up Venom War #1. But what if I told you there was another heavy hitter, perhaps larger than Venom War #1? What if I told you Uncanny X-Men #1 comes out next week? Gail Simone, and I believe it's Dave Marquez. This should be awesome. This should be awesome. X-Men #1 came out, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago, and that was really cool. It's a team being led by Cyclops, and here the team is going to be led by a reluctant Rogue. So, yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this. Gail Simone is a great writer. I look forward to her taking on the Uncanny X-Men. And, yeah, to me, this is probably the book I will be reviewing next week, as long as the copies aren't terribly damaged in shipping. So, unfortunately, I need to have that caveat there. But if the copies are terribly damaged in shipping, I will be reviewing Uncanny X-Men #1 next week. Okay, everybody. We are done with looking at comic books that come out next week. You know, the future, all the way to 1 week from today. Next up, we come to the end of the show with a review. And first up, you can see the nice shiny cover, X-Force #1 with, that's right, Deadpool on the cover. And then I also have that, probably easier to look at. Okay, so this team is being led by Forge, and basically he does some sort of experiment to himself where he may have just made himself an Omega level mutant. And right off the bat, he's not acting normally. This will all build into something I'll be talking about involving Deadpool at the end of the issue. So he and the team, they go to explore this one area, a city area, and they find some people there, and they're like, we don't know what happened to everyone else. There's been like difficulty with communication and everything like that. And it turns out that there's some weird, partially alien, partially mutant creation that if you touch it, it makes you a part of it. So the X-Force have to be very careful fighting this thing and make sure that they don't get touched at all. And of course, Deadpool ends up, you know, it touches him, but because of it, he's Deadpool, it just his entire outfit is gone. And he's like, well, that's not good. And so you find out that Forge, a number of days before they went on this mission, sought out Deadpool and basically gave him a ton of money that he can only access after the mission is completed. Okay, and you know, he's a merc with a mouth. He's trying to get money. That's kind of Deadpool's thing. He accepts, but then he's also like, I'm a member of X-Force now, much to everyone's chagrin, because most of the members of X-Force do not like Deadpool. And there's one point where Deadpool insinuates, I believe, having a wild weekend with Sage. So that was interesting. Well, you find out the reason Forge wanted Deadpool is because the only way to fight against this incredibly weird alien mutant thing that's kind of like, you know, a force that's taking over this area and all the people there that touch it, right? He wants to use Deadpool's cancer in order to slowly and methodically kill this creature. And Deadpool is screaming in pain, and Forge is just like completely compassionless. Yes, it's going to feed on your cancer. It's going to take a number of days of it dying and coming back. I figure about 3 days total. And when it's over, you'll get your money. And then Forge leaves. Pretty dark, pretty monstrous. No matter what you think of Deadpool, like Deadpool's like actually like screaming in pain and saying that this is you know, terrible. And yeah, Forge had that plan, and that's why he wanted Deadpool. Didn't tell him so he could be like heroic or anything. Just did it. I'm very interested to see what happened with the procedure Forge did on himself. I'm interested to see where this book goes. Jeffrey Thorne, actor and writer, I think did a really good job with the book. Has a good understanding of the way these characters talk. And I think X-Force 1 is really good. So I would definitely check it out. Right now, it's from the Ashes. So it's like the beginning of this new X-Men story arc after the whole Krakoa series. So, okay, everybody. I want to thank you all very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. For whatever reason, if you want to see more of me, twitch.tv/Hoarder Gamer. Right now, I'm doing a lot of the First Descendant. I'll be doing some more Diablo 4, and also a bit of Marvel Rivals until that beta ends. And of course, Star Wars Outlaws, late August, when that comes out. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Whether you watch this live, whether you watch it at your leisure, thank you. If you enjoy the show, feel free to sub or tell someone else, you know, about the show if you know, think it's pretty good or whatever. Again, I don't like to harp on the whole follow, press the button, all that stuff. I do like to bring it up at the end, though. So, thank you, everybody, and I hope you have a great week. Thank you, Crinky. Thank you, Crinky. That means a lot. Thank you. I'll see everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.